Hello there and welcome. This is Inverta Umbra and today we are playing Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. For those of you who are not familiar with Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, it is a post-apocalyptic survival game set in a futuristic, not too far ahead world. Um, it is in the vein of Dwarf Fortress's adventure mode or some of the old roguelike games, including the aspect of permadeaths. It can be a very challenging game, but a very rewarding game due to its depth and complexity. Now, normally you can create a very specialized survivor. Depends on how you want to play the game. Maybe you want to set up a situation where you're in the wilderness during the apocalypse, or you have certain abilities or certain stats. Maybe you want to recreate yourself in this world. But today I've just created a simple character who has some basic stats just to get a quick feel and show you the game. Um, it normally has an ASCII tile set. However, there are plenty of tile sets like Dwarf Fortress has, or I'm trying to think of some other games similar, but it has the tile sets you can use that are created by the community that give you a little bit of a easier time to see what it is you're dealing with. Today I'm using chest holes, and I also have the sound from chest holes. Uh, so we're going to start off, and the movements and stuff are all done by keyboard. There is the ability to use the mouse to kind of look around and see what's around you. Um, in this game, I found that it's very important to try and pay attention to your surroundings. Um, it's very easy to have something blindside you because you weren't paying attention, or you were focused on something else and got greedy. So I'm just going to do a quick run through and try and show you a bunch of the core mechanics of the game. So we have our little character right here. Up to the north of him is a little door, and there's something, some more doors, windows, and this area is a more well lit area, which means things can see you easier. And we're currently in the shadows. We have just spawned. And one of the first things it's always a good idea to do, if you're not sure what your characters normally start with, it's good to just go into your inventory by pressing I and just kind of looking quickly through what you have. And we have like a pocket knife, matchbook, um, plastic bottles of clean water, some basic clothes. Clothes are kind of important in this game because not only are you fighting the things you'd normally find in the post-apocalyptic world as we imagine it, like, some zombies or raiders, or depending on the apocalypse, you got the robots and stuff, which are all in this game. But you're also dealing with the elements and food and then, the hydration. So it's important to try and balance all of these, and these can kind of be overwhelming at the start, which is why you sometimes want to, if you're creating a character, try to pick something simple. The survivor, I believe, comes with most of the basic environmental gear he needs. He's got some pants, boxer shorts, socks, shoes, a winter coat, a scarf. The only thing you might need is a hat. And this screen I pulled up by pressing the plus key is it shows all your clothes, all that you're wearing, armor and clothes, and it shows how encumbered and how much warmth they provide. So right now, on our torso, we're a little warm, but our mouth is a little cold, but it's still in the green range. Now, green range means that we're going to be fine in this temperature. Now, if we go outside, which is going to be a little colder because we're indoors right now, these temperature colors will change. The yellow shows that what we're wearing is a little warmer than maybe what we would like to wear, and we're going to get warm pretty quickly. But you notice we have no protection over our eyes. So, and that can be that can be a little bit of a problem. But we're gonna go ahead and back out of this, and we're gonna go ahead and start looking around and seeing what's around us. Now, over to our right, we have these two, looks like shelves or something. And as we move over to them, when we're one space away, we can actually see that they actually have stuff on them. So we're going to look at what's in the one to our northeast by pressing E and pressing the number pad 9, you know, to look in that direction and see what's there. So there's some cargo shorts, there's some panties, there's a Smith & Wesson 619, which is a firearm. Looks like it uses 38 rounds. Now, ideally, firearms are really powerful. However, they make a lot of noise. So you have to kind of make that sort of trade-off. Are you okay with making a lot of noise? Are you going to be able to deal with that? Is that going to bring down a horde on top of your head, or is that going to allow other things that you would rather not notice you to notice you? But we're going to take it for right now. We're just going to carry it with us as a backup. But we're going to try not to use it, at least for right now. Now, over here, you'll notice this is a little, it's like a play log, or a log of what's happened. And before I started recording, testing some things out, I heard 2 bangs to the southeast. So somewhere down over here, heard some explosions. Now, that could be cars, that could be minefield, it could be a lot of different things. There are a lot of interesting things going on in this apocalyptic world. So we're going to try and figure out some more about our surroundings by moving about. Now you kind of want to be careful. Now I can see out there, and I would just want to kind of close the curtains just so nothing else can see me. So, oh, it's a glass door. Oh. So I need to be really careful about that. But to close things, like close curtains or close doors behind you, if you press C and then the direction, it will close whatever you're trying to close or cover whatever you're trying to cover after doing that. So we're going to enter this door. Looks like this is a little bedroom. This is actually a bed, and someone slovenly was drinking on their bed, it looks like. Aluminum can of dark cola. We're going to take that with us, because that could be something useful. And then we're going to look up here and see if there's anything else interesting. Just a pillow and a blanket, so not really much use to us. Some checkered pants. And then a sundress that fits. Now, this little fits that's in brackets means that the clothes actually is our size, or at least close enough that it'll fit us well, which actually adds less encumbrance to us. So on here it doesn't show it, but if we go into here, all our clothes we started with fits, except for the knit scarf, which is not really something that has to fit. This means it will provide less, it won't encumber us as much. Like if you have a really big pair of jeans and they're not fit for you, you're constantly trying to pull them up and keep them, you know, where they should be. That's going to slow you down, or that's going to cause you problems. That's going to get caught on something. They're going to drop at the most embarrassing time, which is not really going to be helpful in the zombie apocalypse. So, finding fitting clothes, or making fitting clothes, is actually very useful. And usually a good find. Unfortunately, I don't think I need a sundress, and we're pretty good on clothes. So I'm going to open this door and look down here and just take a look. There's an electronic cigarette. Now, my character doesn't have a real need for these, but sometimes you can get some stuff out of it. So I'm going to take it with me. And over here we can see a desk and a chair, but it doesn't really look like anything else is in this room. And I'm going to actually open this window for a moment so I can see maybe what caused that explosion. If I remember correctly, oh no, that's not the key. A really handy tool when first starting off to play this game, because even and I've not been playing it super long, but I've been playing it quite a bit, and even I don't know all the hotkeys. If you hit your question mark, so shift question mark, the question mark button, it'll bring up this. And this is where you can look up all the commands, and you can get a quick basics on how things work. There is a wiki for this game. Unfortunately, the game is constantly updating, and by constantly I mean like sometimes every 2 hours. Sometimes I think the last update for this game at the time of recording is about 15 hours ago. But that's not just because I happen to start recording, just at an ideal time to show that there's a lot of updates. There can be times where it goes a week and it's just every update's like 2 hours or 3 hours apart, and there's like 20 or 30 of them. And it shows one that the game is cared for, and a lot of people put time and effort into it. I believe the original base game is made by one person. I'll have some info for that in the description down below. But I'm fairly certain there are a lot of people who help out with bug fixing and stuff like that. And the wiki, I believe, is done by individuals. But because it's constantly updating, it's not really accurate. You can get an idea of certain things, but things may have changed like 20 or 30 times in the last set of updates. So I'm going to look real quick at the list of commands. And you can kind of scroll down and see what these are and everything. What I want to look for is something called peek around corners. It's capital X. So we're going to hit X. We're going to peek here and just see, is there anything that I can see? Doesn't look like it. So I'm going to press spacebar and get out of that. And then I'm going to close this curtain again, just because I don't want anything to see me if something's going on. Also, another thing to pay attention to, and I didn't bring this up at the beginning, but this, above the log, there's a lot of information here. Now, you don't know how much health your character has, but you have an idea of how damaged individual body parts are. And these will get progressively worse and keep getting down until you're missing the body part, or they're just really badly damaged. Obviously, if your torso or head were to go missing, you're pretty much done. But these are all the body parts, and armor is body part specific. So if you wear a pair of jeans, that acts as a little bit of armor on your legs. If you wear thick gloves, your hands on your arms are protected a little bit. It helps that. A hard hat will help protect your head, or a bike helmet will help protect your head, but it won't help protect other parts of your body, which makes sense, but not a lot of games fully, emphasize that. Then right here, you'll see this. If you got a little bit of an imagination, it looks like a guy with just kind of a blank face, kind of sideways. This is your character's happiness, and he can either get really happy or really sad, just depending. It's a rough time in the apocalypse, and these will affect his focus. And his focus is his ability to do certain tasks and improve himself, like read books and gain skills off of reading books. Certain crafting, I believe, has to have, your character has to be feeling in at least a reasonable mood. If he's just too depressed, I've seen the, what's the point, little message pop up. And that can be corrected by things like your character having a good time, listening to some music, wearing fancy clothes if they have the trait for it. There's a lot of interesting things. Reading a good book. And then you'll see these are the stats. So there's only 4. Strength, dexterity, intelligence, and perception. And you can kind of guess what they do, but strength is related to how much you can carry as weight-wise. And there is a little more to that here in a moment, I'll explain. But dexterity is how good you are at using ranged weapons, and how quickly you can build stuff, I believe, affects it a little bit. Intelligence is your ability to read through books, conversate with NPCs, and there are NPCs in this game, though few depending on how you set up your world. And perception is your ability to sense or see or hear things around you. Like if your perception's pretty good, you'll start to notice when things are moving or sounds are happening, you'll notice little footsteps appear on the outside, which may be related to his tile set as far as it looking like footsteps. But you'll see visual icons on you hear a sound somewhere. And this can give you a heads up, hey, something's out there. Hey, something's happening. This is where the zombies are coming from. So it's very useful to have perception. All the stats have their uses. But if you're planning on more of a nomadic character and stuff, maybe you don't have as high of intelligence because you don't want to do books as much because you're not trying to build a base. You're just, running from buildings to buildings. So maybe dex or strength is a little bit more. Perception's almost always a very useful skill, no matter how you do it. If you're more of the type of person who wants to turtle up and build a base, intelligence is very key to that because that'll allow you to learn from books and build things that will be very useful to you. And then, you'll see over here we have our location. We have the phases of the moon or the sun. Depending if we could see outside, it'd show something there. If we had a watch or a cell phone, it actually tells the time there. So that changes depending on your availability of do you have something to tell the time. Now this is it's spring, day one. Actually, no. I take that back. The moon phase, it shows here, I believe this is a full moon, and that changes depending on what it is. Over here, it shows where the sun is. So it looks like it's early in the day, the sun is just setting up, and it'll move through until it gets over here to dusk. And then eventually it'll be night, and it's hard to see out at night. However, enemies have the same issue. You can see lighting is very dark, so things will have trouble seeing us. We're comfortable temperature, but the temperature is rising for us, and that's because we have that winter jacket and those winter boots, and they're just a little hot. So that could cause us a problem, and that's going to actually slow us down, which is this right here, speed. Our speed is 100. This is how many movement points we have. So every action takes some, and like moving takes 100. So to move. And then if you have less than 100, like say you get hurt in your leg and you only have 99 speed, you will move just that much slower, and things that have 100 speed will catch up with you. Over here we have our stamina. It depletes as you run, as you do things. If you wear something that encumbers your mouth, so you have a face mask or something, it gets harder to breathe, so you lose stamina. And then right here we have sound 6. This is how much sound we've created with our last action. So these are all very important things, and I'll go into more depth about them in a little bit, but I don't want to... I'm probably going on too long about the technical things. But for all the technical things, it's a really fun game. It looks from the east we hear a bang. So it looks like that earlier southeast was actually, when we were standing up here, it was somewhere around here. Now I kind of want to stay away from that because that's making noise and it's going to attract whatever's around us. So I'm going to go in here. Oh, looks like there's a bodysuit or something. Leather touring suit. Now this can be a really useful thing if we could get it where it fits. I'm almost tempted to carry it and see if I can make it fit later, but not for this. So we're just looking around, we're looting this house. Maybe it was our house, I'm not sure. You would think if it was our house there'd be more stuff that fits. Now here we got a pair of sneakers that fit, and while having nice thick winter boots is good, it's really too thick. So we're going to take those off, and we're going to drop them. Because we have no room in our inventory, they're just going to drop onto the ground. And that goes into other detail I was saying. The strength affects our maximum carry weight, which is right here. And then I have it in pounds, though if you're from somewhere that uses the metric system, you can set the metric or standard, just depending. But we also have something that's called volume, and this is how, like, our pockets that we have and how much we can carry. And if you're full on volume, it doesn't matter how much you can carry. You've got nowhere to put it. So you can carry up to your volume, and then you can carry something in your hands. And there, usually at the beginning of the game, you have less volume than you do strength. However, if you survive long enough, you may notice that you have a lot of volume, maybe you have a lot of good gear with lots of pockets and stuff, and then you start noticing the encumberment. There's something called encumberment that's not related to what you're wearing, but actually what you're carrying. And that'll slow you down, and that's because you have enough volume to carry the item, but it's heavier than your weight limit. So, we just dropped those winter boots, and they drop below us, and we're going to pick up these sneakers. And we're going to press W, Shift W, and wear the sneakers. Now, how I took off the boots was pressing Shift T, and it brings up all the things you're wearing, and you can take them off. We're going to go over here and just see what this is. And we're going to look out this window real quick. Just kind of do a look around, see what's around us, see what's attracting, attracted to that explosion. Looks like we got some more clean water. Clean water is very important. Water you just find sitting around is unlikely to be clean. And if you drink that, it can cause your character some health problems. We're going to go see what's out there. It looks like there's another house right next to us. Also, moving past certain things, like there's a counter here, but right here there's a wall. Moving past certain things will slow you down. So it'll also slow your enemies down. This can be a useful advantage. I don't think I want to go outside just yet, at least for the moment. I would like to find a weapon, but it's not looking like we have much options with that. Oh, first aid kit. Those are very useful. And a mop. I would almost use this as a weapon, but maybe... Let's go with something a little more amusing. Let's go with a frying pan. We're going to use this as a weapon. Not the best thing in the world, but it'll work. So because it was higher than our volume could carry, we're going to wield it. It's going to ask us, do we want to put it in our hands because we can't put it in any pockets. We're going to move into this window and open it. So now it's open, and I just want to take a quick peek and look around. Doesn't seem to be anything to the south. Doesn't seem to be anything to the... Oh, doesn't seem to be anything to the north. Now this is probably the most peaceful start I've ever had. Makes me kinda nervous. Oh, and you see this notice right here. The wind is making your left hand feel quite cold. So now that we're outside, we can see our hands. Everything else is fine, but our hands are just a little cold. So if we could get some gloves, that'd probably be good. But gloves tend to cause some encumbrance. So again, a trade-off. Let's move past this fence. Uh-oh. So also now, you see that we've spotted a zombie, and safe mode is now on. Or it's been on. And I can press the exclamation mark to turn it off, or press apostrophe to ignore that monster. Now let's see, by pressing Shift V, there's the zombie. Now he has noticed us. That little exclamation mark next to him means that he has noticed us, and there's a little descriptor down here, tells us what we're looking at, but it's just, looks like a plain run-of-the-mill zombie. Now that he's noticed us, I feel we should probably hurry indoors somewhere where we can take a defensive stand, or at least get away from him. You'll see also on this mini-map, which doesn't come, if you just download the game doesn't come with the mini-map. There's a Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead launcher, which I'll try to put a link to in the description, that'll, this is one of the modifications it makes. I feel it's a good thing because the way top-down works, it's kind of hard to be aware of your surroundings, and this is kind of to make up for that, I believe. Anyways, so the safe mode. Now, if I turn it off, it's not going to notify me if there's zombies I see. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ignore... Oop, I started running. Wrong button. I'm going to start ignoring that zombie because he knows we're here. We know he's there. We need to get away from him. So we're going to move over here, It looks like he's started to move towards us. I'm going to smash this window by pressing S and then hitting the direction. So I hit it once, it broke the window, and then I smashed it again and I cleaned out the window. And this is a really good thing because trying to move through a window that's just broken can hurt you. It can also hurt enemies and it makes it slower for them to move through. Even this is still slow. But for you personally, if you're just trying to move in really quick to an area, it's better to clean out the windows. Let's see, what is this? Butter knife. Not really something I want to fight with. So let's move into darkness. Try and hide from our enemies. And we're going to stop here for now. But in the next episode, we're going to try and see if we can get into some combat and show what that's like. I know this has been like a very wordy first episode, but I hope that does not dissuade you from playing this very excellent game. It is free. I recommend looking into it. And even if you're not interested in actually playing it, sorry, stumbling over my own words, I find it enjoyable to watch some people play it. So maybe you'll come back and join me next time. But have a good one.